So today this is what we're going to make. It's a beautiful little card. It's showing you how simplistic this set can be in those gorgeous silhouette stamps. We're going to be taking some of these background papers that I've got here and we're going to be using some black cardstock just to coordinate with that, and also on the little card blank that's already in your box, plus a really beautiful little sentiment stamp on the front. So the first thing I'm going to do, I've took some of those 8x8 papers. We've got some of that beautiful sort of tone on tone blue that's going through there, which looks really effective. Decide where you want to sort of position your stamps. The first thing I want to do is bringing in one of our little plastic sort of stencils here, which we're going to create a base for our fairy to sit on. So you can see here just a very sort of faint line across the bottom of our card there. Now I'm just going to be bringing in a black pigment ink pad, and we're going to be using our daubers just to give us that sort of light shade across the bottom. So dipping that in, and all I want to do is create, and in fact I want to do it across the bottom. I'm rotating, so turning over, and we're going to do this from the bottom layer here, and we're just going to put a little layer of that darkness down. And what this is doing is creating a little plinth really for our fairy to sit on, so you can see how effective that is straight away on the bottom. The next thing we want to do is to stamp our fairy onto there. So I'm going to bring in our stamping platform. We're going to position that onto our grid. Now you can use rocker blocks, you can use your other stamping platforms, whatever you've got to hand is going to work really well. And then we're going to bring in our fairies, choose which one we want. I want this one that's sitting down here, and I also want to use these butterflies. So we're just going to position our fairy onto the base. So first of all, she's just going to be sitting onto here and making sure that her feet are touching that plinth, and then she's seated onto that bottom piece, so she's nice and upright, and then I can just position my stamps around her. I also then, because we're using the stamping platform, if you're using rocker blocks you do one at a time, but I'm just going to have the butterflies sort of flying just over her head there, so let's just use those there. Okay, so we've got both of those just flying past. And what I also want to do is I want to stamp a sentiment, but I've also created a black piece of card, so I just want to make sure I can fit that in the centre. So I'm just lining up, seeing where everything is going to go. So I'm happy with that. Then we're going to take our top of our platform and pick up our stamps. So just picking those up, and then we're going to add our ink to those stamps. Now I'm using pigment ink pad. You can use your quick drying ink pads. You can even use just your regular stamping Noir Black for watercolour or your water reactive. So we're just going to stamp that down straight on to our base. Now if you're using pigment ink pads, you can always heat emboss, so you get that really nice shiny sort of fairy, and you can see how well that's stamped out. Absolutely beautiful. Now once we've done that stamping, we're going to take this off because I want to then bring in the elements of the stencil. So we have this beautiful stencil, so if we wanted to we could put trees in the background behind her, but actually what I want to do is just bring in some of these vines that are coming down. So I'm going to position them just over the top there, making sure we've just got a few on the page. Now I'm not masking it down, but if you did want to, just use your low tack tape, so I will, just to show you how effective that can be. And we're just going to pop that onto that side there, and then we'll do that onto the other side here. So I can do that just on my make and onto that stencil, and I know that's not going to shift. Let's bring our ink pad back in. And I want to go in quite lightly because I want it just not to be too dark. It looks dark on the onset, but we're going to just stencil through those little pieces. And you can see what I'm doing is just dabbing that on because I don't want to do it too harshly. We just want to get that effect going through those branches. And then just on to our other section. and just stencil them through. You can always lift that up and see how it's looking, so you can see straight away we're getting a really nice look. I'm just going to twist that in and do a little bit more onto there and into these pieces, just to get those almost little hands that are coming out, which are very nice. And then we can lift that up and take that away. So we've got those beautiful tree branches coming down. And then all I've done here, so we're going to be quite quick here, but bringing in a piece of card which is identical to this size, which is going to fit on our card. So I've done it slightly smaller. I've done it to 3 3/4 inch by 5 3/4 inch. And what we're going to do is create a frame on the inside. So if you just use your ruler, I'm just going to go in about 1 centimetre. And all we're going to do, I have a finished one, so I'm just going to show you how we got to that point, is if you place it so you've got that straight line on there, I'm just bringing in my silver metallic marker and I'm just going to draw down. So if you just draw down, leaving that centimetre, go all the way round, then what you would do is bring in your craft knife, and just before that line, so you want that still in place, so just where that line is, I'm going to come in and just go down. So what you would do that all the way round, hollow out that insert, and then what you would be left with is this piece here. So you get your marker, and then all I've done is gone round with my marker, and I've just gone round the edge of it with the ruler as well. So you're getting just that beautiful piece of silver, top and bottom. You could also do that with our, we've got our silver markers as well, which would do the same job. And that's just going to frame around our actual image. So then what I'm going to do is bring in some foam on a roll here. We're going to pop that down, or make sure I've got the right side, yes. We're just going to pop that all the way round. Now this would lend itself really lovely to a shaker card, but if you just want to do a normal card like I'm doing, then you can just use it as a frame. So let's bring that round on all our corners. So we're keeping it nice and simple. Just onto here. And then, oh, doesn't want to trim that piece off. One more bit at the corner. Pop that across the middle. And then we're ready to pop that onto our make. And actually, before we do that, all I'm going to do, make sure we take all these pieces off. We are going to get our card blank. Let's take our card blank. We're going to secure this in place. So I'm just using my tape pens. You can use whatever you've got to hand, or your glue of choice. So if it's tacky glue, all purpose, whatever you use. Make sure my card opens up the right way. Yep. I'm going to pop that into place. And then we're going to use that frame to frame around the top. And then all we've got left to do, so let's just place that over there. All I've done then is I've got a stamp set here, so I've put, I may not always be there for you, but I will always be with you. So really beautiful. And then I've just used that silver around the edges there. We're going to just place that into the middle of our design, onto that black card, so that just coordinates with that frame. And then that will go into the centre of our card. And there we go. A nice, finished, simple effect there. There we go. And that's one of the cards that you could be making with your craft box number 51.